It's been said that better questions lead us naturally to better answers, and that it's in not knowing that we open the doorway to knowing. I'm Scott Lennox, and you're listening to The Beautiful Question, a consideration of things that truly matter in a complex world. When we're young, we often think about growing up, but the idea of growing down rarely, if ever, crosses our mind. But then, why would it? After all, we have our whole lives out ahead of us. Why would we waste our time thinking about something we can't see or hear or get our hands on? Why bother? Stay with me this week as we consider the importance of growing down in ways that strengthen and deepen our lives. When I was a kid, I told myself that when I grew up, I wanted to be a pilot like my dad, and that when I was finally grown up, I'd never have to do homework or mow the lawn again. How funny was that? I remember hearing adults make comments about some of the kids I knew. With praise and admiration in their voices, they would say things like, "Oh, she's so grown up for her age." Or, "Isn't that nice? He acts like such a grown-up." In those days, the focus was on what was external, on what was outward and upward, things like advancement, achievement, and accomplishment, the setting and reaching of personal goals, the future, and what it might hold. It would be years before anyone talked to me about what lay beneath the surface or what might be considered a person's inner life. When they did, I didn't listen. I have to admit that I didn't really care much about what they were saying. I was in too big a hurry racing ahead, even though I had no idea of where I was going. The notion of growing down didn't occur to me till I was standing under my favorite group of old live oak trees, a mott of cathedral oaks that have spent more than a century spreading broad, deep roots that anchor them and connect them to the earth, roots that support and nourish and protect them. For reasons I still can't explain, when I was standing there, what I call growing down finally made sense. I've been so fascinated by those oaks and what happened there that I've drawn and painted them in graphite and watercolor and oil. I've written numerous poems about them, and I've talked about them in these Beautiful Question newsletters and podcasts. I refer to them as the aging guardians of the open plain, and I think of the refuge they provide as sanctuary. Since the idea of growing down first opened in me, I've spent considerable time thinking about what those trees mean to me and about what they have to show me when I'm willing to stop and pay attention. Along the way, I've discovered that like those oaks, it's not enough to focus only on growing the parts of us that can be seen or observed. Things like going to school, building a family, working, acquiring things, so-called social status, and on and on. If we're truly going to endure, if we're going to live in intentional and meaningful ways, we also have to be conscious about growing those parts of us that are hidden beneath the surface, the things that can't be readily seen, but that show up in how we go about living our lives. I continue to be inspired by people who've established the deep roots of character and compassion, the roots of intentionality and integrity, and the roots of presence and peace. These are people who are constantly fed by the roots of belief in something greater than themselves, people who spread the wide-reaching roots of kindness and acceptance and love. As I study them more closely, it becomes obvious that they're innately strengthened by the strong roots of self-confidence. They've broadened themselves by spreading roots of engagement in many directions. They're nourished by a network of roots that draw real substance from life and from deep within themselves, from what I call essence and authenticity. Such people think and act and connect with others in ways that are steadfast and consistent because the roots they've developed over a lifetime help them to stand their ground when life's inevitable storms come boiling their way. Afterwards, when the storms have passed, They may be battered, and they may have lost a few branches here and there, but they're still standing. Trees don't think about growing down. They simply and naturally follow what's encoded in them. For us, however, the process of becoming rooted is a necessarily conscious one that is slowly shaped by the decisions we make and by the actions that we take. For our roots to become vital, to grow strong and deep, we have to be intentional about it. As always, I'm not here to preach. You can get plenty of that somewhere else. What I am here to do is challenge and inspire each of us, including myself, to live in the most meaningful ways we can. One of the ways we'll accomplish that is to deepen our root systems. Since growing down is a process that each of us can do something about, here are 4 beautiful questions to challenge and inspire you. I've mentioned character and compassion. I've mentioned intentionality and integrity. I mentioned peace and presence, as well as self-confidence, engagement, and authenticity. Considering those, and others I have not named, question 1, what roots have you already grown? Question 2, what do those roots bring to your life? Question 3, what roots are missing or stunted that will benefit you when you grow them? And question 4, what new roots are you intentionally growing today? As always, I look forward to hearing about your consideration and the steps you're taking to deepen yourself. Have a marvelous week. As I say each week, my light with your light. Thank you again for listening. My goal is for each of us to live better lives and to create better possibilities for ourselves, for one another, for the world, and for our beautiful planet home. I look forward to your comments and to your feedback. You can also be inspired by visiting my good friends at Cosmos Journal. That's KOSMOS Journal. Their mission is to inform, inspire, and engage global transformation in harmony with all life. You can easily find them online at cosmosjournal.org. And though we're still under construction, you can now find my free podcasts and guided relaxation audios on the new Beautiful Question website at thebeautifulquestion.com. When the site is completed, you'll also be able to read the transcripts of these podcasts and find links to a number of other offerings to challenge and inspire you. There will also be a library in which you can quickly find podcasts arranged by topics. I know you're going to like how easy the site will be to navigate. If you find these Beautiful Question podcasts useful or encouraging, don't hesitate to share them or tell others about them. I'm Scott Lennox, and this has been The Beautiful Question. The Beautiful Question is a One Light production, written, produced, and engineered by Scott Lennox at Heart Rock Studios in Fort Worth, Texas, as a way of paying forward to life, being fully present, becoming better engaged with things that truly matter in a complex world, and committing to a healthier future for all of us.